Hi everyone, welcome. This is another in the 10-minute tip series recorded programs for credit and collection pros. This one is titled How to Manage People Problems in the Credit Department. My name is Michael Dennis. Let's go ahead and jump in. Introduction. This program is about people management. Unfortunately, most managers receive little or no formal training about how to manage people. In fact, I think it's fair to say that many people are promoted into managerial roles not because of their demonstrated expertise in managing people, but because of their subject matter expertise in some other aspect of business. Please note, none of the ideas presented today should ever be implemented by you if they conflict in some way with your employer's policies and procedures relating to personnel management. How to build a stronger team. Number one, don't ignore substandard performance. Why? Because poor performers tend to drag down those people that work with them. In other words, poor performers are demoralizing and demotivating to their coworkers. And in fact, I would add that coworkers do this, at least in my experience. They wait and they watch to see if and how substandard performance is going to be addressed. More specifically, they don't just look at if and how, they look at how soon and how effectively their manager is going to resolve this substandard performance problem. As a leader, as a manager, it's essential that you determine if the performance problem is the result of inadequate training or insufficient resources. And here's the good news. If the performance problem is the result of inadequate training or insufficient resources, those are, relatively speaking, easy problems to fix. If an employee has a behavioral problem, an example might be chronic tardiness, that employee needs to be informed that they need to take whatever steps are required to address and resolve that problem quickly. They also need to be told the consequences of failing to make the corrections quickly enough. In fairness, they need to know how and how soon and in what manner the problem will be evaluated by you to determine if it has been addressed and addressed quickly enough and addressed sufficiently. How to build a stronger team continued. It's important to have ongoing discussions with the members of your team. In those discussions, it's important to speak as well as to listen. When you're listening, listen for areas of concern or frustration on the part of your team members. If you want a stronger team, be willing to provide ongoing training or cross-training to your team, or potentially, and if necessary, retraining for them. Please don't accept or permit marginal performance from any member of your team. At the same time, make sure that you are both recognizing and rewarding superior performance. To build a stronger team, make certain that your employees know how specifically they are supposed to do their work and why specifically it needs to be done in the way that they were trained to do it. So it's important they both understand how to do their job and why they do it the way they are told to do it. Please discuss performance-related problems with individual employees in private rather than in public. Welcome and invite from members of your team ideas, recommendations, and suggestions, and give credit where credit is due. If one of those ideas or suggestions or recommendations turns out great and you receive a compliment about it, let the other party know where the idea came from. There's a risk associated with shooting the messenger when they deliver bad news. The risk is that that individual and potentially every member of your team will recognize that you don't like bad news, and therefore they will be reluctant to provide bad news to you. And that becomes a problem for you as a manager, as a supervisor. One of the things that you're expected or required to do is mitigate the impact of problems. The problem is that if people are reluctant to tell you there is a problem, then you will not have enough time, enough opportunity to try to mitigate the problem. How to build a stronger team continued. Recognize that the sooner you address a performance problem or a behavioral problem at work, the better. The better for who? Well, the better for the affected employee, the better for you, the better for the department, the better for their coworkers, the better for the company that you work for, and potentially the better for your customers. The important point is that early intervention to address and resolve a performance or behavioral problem can prevent more serious problems in the future. Make sure that your employee understands what needs to happen and how quickly that needs to happen. Take decisive action if their performance or their behavior does not improve, or does not improve quickly enough, or does not improve sufficiently based on criteria that have been discussed and agreed upon between you and that employee. Effectively managing workplace conflicts. Conflicts between coworkers are inevitable. Managers need to deal with these issues effectively, assertively, and tactfully. And managers need to address workplace conflicts quickly, sooner rather than later, before issues become problems and before a problem becomes a crisis, as can happen with workplace conflicts between coworkers. I think it's easy to recognize that ignoring workplace-related conflicts, ignoring that type of problem is not productive, it's not effective, it's not efficient, it's not constructive, it's not appropriate. It's simply passive aggressive. What I'm saying in effect is that ignoring conflicts in the workplace is not a winning strategy. This is the strategy that I employ when I'm aware of a workplace conflict. Step number one, I gather the facts. Well, how do I do that? I speak to the parties one-on-one and in private. And I encourage them to tell their story from their perspective. And I also ask that they identify for me what they would consider to be a reasonable outcome of this workplace conflict. And assuming I agree, then I attempt to broker that proposed resolution, sell it to the affected parties. Ultimately, we reach agreement on the proposed solution, the plan, if you will. It might be the original proposal, it might have been modified once or twice, but we reach an agreement on the plan that's going to resolve this problem. And then we also agree on a timeline. How quickly is it going to happen? Are there milestones? Are there any other aspects of it that need to be agreed upon and monitored? Because my next task is to ensure that the plan is implemented. And there's also a follow-up aspect. I'm going to follow up one-on-one with the affected parties to make sure that the conflict is resolved, and as a result, people are able to work together, work effectively, work as a team. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you found this program helpful. If you'd like to hear the entire on-demand program on this specific topic, please contact my sponsor, Wisconsin Credit Association, and have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye.